In the last video, I created a PSSDiag package using the configuration manager, and I've got that cab file highlighted. I've already extracted it out. Now I'm going to go ahead and run the utility. So there's a lot of scripts and whatnot in here, but the PSSDiag.cmd file is what we're going to use to run the utility. In earlier versions, like for SQL, I think 2005, it may actually be a PSSDiag.exe. But for more recent versions, it's a .cmd file. So I'm just going to double click this, click yes on the UAC, and we get this command line prompt. We'll get messages about it connecting to things, starting up various scripts. If there's any errors, they should be obvious here. Typically takes a minute for this to start up, and when we shut it down, it will probably take a couple of minutes. There's a lot of individual scripts to run. But now we've got the tool started. We get this message in green saying that it started successfully. If it fails for some serious reason, we'll probably get a message in red. I've got a script running in background that is generating some activity against the SQL server, so we actually have some data to trace at this point. I'm not going to let this run for very long, but we can already see at this point we have an output folder that's been created underneath PSSDiag, and that's where all the output files will be. If you decide to use this alongside the Nexus, the SQL Nexus utility, this output folder is where you will want Nexus to import from. So I'm going to go ahead and hit Control C once to shut this down. Takes a minute to shut down, but it's best not to try and close the window because if it doesn't get to go through all of its shutdown scripts, you might actually end up with the traces that have been defined on the server side for SQL Server. They might continue running even though you've shut down the tool. So it may take a few minutes for this to complete, but it's best just to let that occur. Right now, these messages in red are just telling me that it's writing out the event log. So depending on the size of your event logs and the size of your error logs, which SQL typically, PSSDiag typically captures at shutdown, it might take a few minutes. The window goes away when it's done, as you can see now. So if I look in here, I can see all the files that are part of the PSSDiag. Towards the bottom, I should see the trace file. I can see the BLG file and a lot of other things in between. So that's how the tool runs. One more point regarding the output folder. The trace files in the output folder you will not have access to the files as they are. If you go and try to open the files manually, it will prompt you that you don't have access. Okay, so you either need to manually give yourself access to the files, or you can do it through other methods. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to copy this output folder, and I am going to paste it to another location. Pasting it means accessing those files, the trace files that we don't have access to, that it doesn't give us access to by default. In accessing those, it'll ask us if we want to have access to those files and use administrative privileges for that. So if I do that, now we'll have access to those trace files. I could have gone through and done it manually, but moving the folder might be an easier option if you have a lot of trace files and you don't want to go through and manually give yourself access to all of them. This will come in really handy if you're using Nexus again, because Nexus would need for you to have access to those files for Nexus to be able to import those files. So that's running the tool, and one little caveat with the output folder. So we've moved that, so we've gotten around that issue. If I want to import this data now, should be fine to do so. And we'll put out some more content on the PSSDiag and how to use it in future. Thank you.